Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be exploring the multiplying of polynomials. In example 1, let's review some polynomial multiplication that you learned in previous courses. So in problem A, we have a cubed plus 2a squared times the quantity a squared minus 3a plus 8. So remember, when we are multiplying polynomials, we can use the distributive property, where we take the first term of the first polynomial and multiply it by each term in the second polynomial. So let's do that first. We have a cubed times a squared. That would be a to the 5 power. Then a cubed times negative 3a, which would be negative 3a to the 4. And finally, a cubed times 8, which would be 8a cubed. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second term of our first polynomial. We're going to multiply 2a squared times each term in the second polynomial. So 2a squared times a squared would give me 2a to the 4th. 2a squared times negative 3a would give me negative 6a to the 3rd. And 2a squared times 8 would give me 16a squared. So to finish this problem up, you'll simply combine like terms. So we have a to the 5 power and nothing to combine it with. Now let's look at our a to the 4 powers. Let's see, we have negative 3a to the 4 and positive 2a to the 4. And that would give me negative 1a to the 4. Now we're going to combine our cubes. So I have 8a cubed minus 6a cubed, which would be positive 2a cubed. And then there's nothing to combine the 16a squared with. So this would be our final answer. All right, in problem B, we have m minus 2 times the quantity 3m minus 5 times the quantity 2m plus 3. Now, when we have three binomials that we're trying to multiply, you want to multiply any two of them first. So I'll start with the first two, and I'll multiply those together first. So I'll take this m and multiply it by everything in the second polynomial. So m times 3m is 3m squared, and m times negative 5 is negative 5m. Now do the same thing with this negative 2. Multiply everything in the second binomial by negative 2. So negative 2 times 3m is negative 6m, and negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Now let's simplify that. This would become 3m squared minus 11m plus 10. So now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply that by the third polynomial, which is 2m plus 3. All right, so taking your first term, you're going to multiply it by each term in the second polynomial. So 3m squared times 2m would be 6m to the 3rd. 3m squared times 3 would be 9m squared. Now do the same thing with the negative 11m. Multiply negative 11m times everything in the second polynomial. So negative 11m times 2 would be negative 22m squared. Negative 11m times 3 would be negative 33m. And finally, take the 10 and multiply it by everything in the second polynomial. So that would be 10 times 2m would be 20m, and 10 times 3 would be 30. All right, now we're ready to combine like terms. 6m cubed, nothing to combine it with. Now let's combine the m squared. So we have 9m squared and negative 22m squared. So that would give me negative 13m squared. Now we're going to combine negative 33m plus 20m to get negative 13m and then plus 30. Now, there's some multiplication problems and types of problems that occur so often they've been given what's called a polynomial identity. So an identity is an equation that is true for all values of the replacement variable or variables. Some common polynomial identities are shown below. So we have a plus b quantity squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. We have a minus b quantity squared, which is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Then we have a plus b, a minus b, which is equal to a squared minus b squared. A plus b cubed is equal to a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. And a minus b quantity cubed is a cubed minus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared minus b cubed. Now we're going to practice using these identities. You do not have to memorize these identities, but after you use them enough, you will start to memorize them on your own. So let's look at our first identity. Example 2. Use the identity that a plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared to find each product. So in problem A, we have 4x squared plus 5 times 4x squared minus 5. So notice the terms are the same. The only difference is we have a plus and a minus. When that happens, we can use this identity, a squared minus b squared. Now let's identify a and b here. A is your first term, which is 4x squared. B is your second term, which is 5. And you're just going to ignore the signs, okay? So now I'm going to replace these variables with parentheses, and I'll plug in my a and b. So for a here, I have 4x squared. For b, I have 5. Now be careful. When you square 4x squared, you have to square the 4 and you have to square the x squared. So this would be 16x to the 4 minus 25. And this would be your final answer to 4x squared plus 5, 4x squared minus 5. All right, problem B. 5a cubed minus 3b squared times 5a cubed plus 3b squared. So in this problem, our a term, or our first term, is 5a cubed. Our b term, our second term, is 3b squared. Remember, ignore the signs. All right, the identity we will be using is a squared minus b squared. So I'm going to replace my variables with parentheses, and then I'll plug in my first term, 5a cubed, and plug in my second term, 3b squared. All right, now be very careful here. You are squaring the 5 and you're squaring the a cubed. So that would give you 25a to the 6th power. In our second term, we're squaring the 3 and we're squaring the b squared. So that would give you 9b to the 4th power. All right. Example 3. Let's practice the square of a binomial. The square of a binomial, if you have a plus b quantity squared, is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Or if you have a minus b quantity squared, your identity is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So in problem A, we have 5x minus 3 quantity squared. So that means we'll be using this identity, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Now we'll identify a, which is your first term, 5x, and b, which is your second term, 3. Just disregard the signs, okay? Now replace your variables with parentheses, and then plug in your first term, so 5x goes here and here, and your second term goes here and here. All right, now let's simplify this. 5x quantity squared is 25x squared minus, now you're going to multiply your constants together. 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 3 is 30, so 30x, and then square the 3, plus 9. So 5x minus 3 quantity squared is 25x squared minus 30x plus 9. All right, in problem B, we have 2x plus 5 quantity squared. So the identity we'll use this time is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now let's identify our a, which is our first term, or 2x, and b, which is our second term, which was 5. So replace the variables with parentheses. And what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and try the rest of the problem on your own. When you're ready to check your answer, press play. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I put a 2x here and here, and I put a 5 here and here. When I simplified 2x quantity squared, I got 4x squared. Then I did 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20x for my middle term. And then 5 squared gives me 25. All right. Now let's look at the cube of a binomial. So in example 4, it says use a plus b quantity cubed is equal to a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed, or a minus b cubed equals a cubed minus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared minus b cubed. So in problem A, we have x plus 3 quantity cubed. So our first term a is x, and our second term b is 3. Because this is a plus, we will use the first identity. So let's write it down. A cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. All right, once you get that written down, now we're going to replace the variables with parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to plug in an x here, here, and here, and I'll plug in the 3 here, here, and here, and then we'll evaluate. All right, so x to the third power is x cubed. Now, be careful on the next term. You want to multiply this 3 times this 3, which will give you 9x squared. And your next term, notice we have 3 times 3 squared. So that would be 3 times 9, or 27x. And then 3 to the third power would be 27. All right, next problem. X minus 4 quantity cubed. So here our first term is x. Our second term b is 4. The identity we're going to use this time is a cubed minus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared minus b cubed. Once you get that written down, now rewrite it, replacing all of the variables with parentheses. All right, so let's plug in an x here, here, and here, and a 4 here, here, and here. All right, so this will give me x cubed. In my second term, I have a 3 times a 4, which would be minus 12x squared. In my third term, I have a 3 times a 4 squared. So that's 3 times 16, just 48x, minus 4 to the third power, 4 times 4 times 4, 64. All right, problem C, 3x plus 2 to the third power. So my a term is 3x, my b term is 2. The identity I'm going to use is a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. Now I'm replacing the variables with parentheses. And I will plug in a 3x here, here, and here, and a 2 here, here, and here. All right, so 3x quantity cubed. You are cubing the 3, which is 27, and the x, which is x squared. In my next term, I'm taking 3 times 3 squared times 2. So 3 times 9 is 27, times 2 would be 54x squared. In my next term, I have 3 times 3 times 2 squared. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 4 is 36. And then 2 to the third power gives me 8. All right, problem D, 4x minus 3 to the third power. Pause the video and try this problem on your own. When you're ready to check your answer, press play. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. The identity I used was a cubed minus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared minus b cubed. So let's replace all these variables with parentheses. And I will plug in a 4x here, here, and here, and a 3 here, here, and here. All right, so 4x quantity raised to the third power would give me 64x cubed. In my second term, I'm multiplying 3 times 4 squared times 3. So that would be 16 times 3 is 48 times 3 would be 144x squared. Next term, I have 3 times 4, which is 12, times 3 squared. So 12 times 9 would be 108x, and then minus 3 cubed, minus 27. All right, last example. Use an identity to find an expression to represent the volume of the cube shown. Well, first of all, we know the formula for the volume of a cube is the side raised to the third power. So the side times side. So we are going to take the volume and plug in the side, which is 2x plus 3y to the third power. Now, we can use our identity here, which is a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. Our a term would be 2x, and our b term would be 3y. So let's replace our variables here with parentheses. And we'll plug in a 2x here, 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 and a 3y here, here, and here. All right, let's see what we get. 2x quantity to the third power would be 8x cubed. Our next time we're multiplying 3 times 2 squared times 3. So this would be 3 times 4, which is 12. 12 times 3, which is 36. So this would be 36x squared y. All right, in our third term, we have 3 times 2 times 3 squared. So 6 times 9 would be 54xy squared. And then 3y raised to the third power would be 27y cubed. And that concludes today's lesson, multiplying polynomials.